pops up because we're in a Discord right now. What's really, really cool about Maude's Book Club is that we are not only interactive, we have our own members plus that join in the discussions every single week. We choose a book a month, and in this case it was 2 because the series is so good and I knew the community would not be able to stop reading, and they have not. Some people have, KP Dubs, finally, you read over the allocated time. You couldn't stop halfway through this book, I saw. You finished the whole thing? In fact, have you read it twice?
I've read the first half twice, and I'm about halfway through the second reading. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So usually it's me spoiling. I do implore you. We are only talking about the first half of Carl's Doomsday scenario by Matt Dinniman. Big shout out to Matt. We're going to have him on the show in a cool, fun author chat Q&A happening on the 30th of this month from 5 till about 6:30 because we do have two books to talk about. Oh, I forgot to feed my dog. I was just thinking about Princess Donut, and here I am. I'll get to that in a bit. You can see her. There she is. She's fine. She's napping. She is fine. Kate says, here at Maude's Book Club, not only are we in book format with the chat, but in audiobook format with the Discord. I like that, actually. That's a really cool way to describe it. We're writing. We've got a show chat in the Discord that is live for all the members. And then Members Plus are actually all in a video group chat, so I can see all the members. We're having an interactive discussion. We're talking about the book. It's exciting. I've got a little bit of housekeeping to do. Maude's Book Club has merch. Maude's Book Club has merch. Head over to maudesbookclub.com/store. I had a friend call me today and she's like, I really want to buy something, but there's so many wonderful options. If you think she's lying, check it out. Tell me. There's a lot of cool things on there. We've got mugs. We've got sweaters. We've got t-shirts. I'm wearing this cool unisex muscle shirt because I like to work out and aerate. I gotta be on my best behavior this stream as well. We're super excited to have merch. If you do want to support Maude's Book Club that way, do it. We even have some tiers on Patreon, which is another way that you can support. There's 3 tiers: passive, active, interactive. Passive is, I want to be a member. I want to unlock all the channels in the Discord. And when I say all, you open up members chat, book of the month, feedback. You actually get to have like discussions with myself and the team about what things that you think could improve, any feedback that you have there. We've got the live show chat. Who's in here right now? Chris says live. Will is in there as well. Will, I know for a fact, raced through these books so he could be a part of today's discussion for book club. So hello, Will. As I like to say, where there's a will, there's a way. I love it, Vaden.
Maude's World.
Nobody has ever made that joke ever.
My favorite part is every time I do a pun, I can see Vaden go. There it is. She couldn't help it. My brother is in the chat right now. My brother says, I'm halfway through book 1 only. I've received very positive feedback from Darcy, aka Dorizo, in here, who is really enjoying the book. Says it's incredibly entertaining. And sometimes I just know if you're going to like a book. And I had a really good feeling about this book with the community. Let's learn a little bit about said book. And if you've got any thoughts or notes, you are actually in the Discord. It's like, I don't know, it's called nepotism. You're my flesh and blood, so you just get access. So if you want to pop in, you're more than welcome, Dart. You're more than welcome. We can hear your thoughts. You can actually be in the little video hangout. Exclusive. Live. Kill. That makes sense if you've read the book. Why Not Gaming says me. I'm in here. Hello, Why Not? Big shout out to everyone who is following. Remember Baker? I do. Thank you so much for following. Simple Cringe 182. Thanks for following as well. Colleen's in here. Every time my grandkids were in the car, I would make them listen to the first book. We love that. Catch22 says, when do we get to read Dorizo's book? Yes, my brother is writing. Is it a 5-book series? You've mapped out at least 3. of a fantasy series that he actually submitted. Can I share? Am I sharing too much? He submitted to like a book competition, and the feedback that he got was that it was like a great cross between Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and one other. And Darcy's like, that's exactly what I'm going for. So really excited about that. I actually have suggested that if he wants to, he can post the prologue in the group for everyone to read and offer feedback, since we're all big sci-fi fantasy readers. So that's a lot of fun. The 3 tiers, we've got passive, join the chat. We've got active. Oh no, passive is just follow. Follow on Twitch. Follow on our Fable. We have a Fable online app book club. That app is expanding and growing as well. It's almost got like a feed in there where you can share your favorite books, reviews, comments. Check out Maude's book club on that. What's really cool about Fable, we're not sponsored. We're not sponsored by Fable. But what's really cool about this app is that you have a chapter breakdown of the book. And if you don't know whether you're going to buy it or not, yes, you can listen to a sample on an audio app, but also you can get a written sample. They offer like the first few chapters of the book, so you can actually read it and see if you like it and you're vibing with it before you get it. So head out over to Fable for Maude's book club on that particular app. I really do like the chapter breakdowns. I go through it and I get everyone's thoughts on it. KPWs, you've been super great for this book with all your chapter analyses as well. Colleen says Fable's very helpful. We're loving that. KPW says if the prologue's too expensive, just post the armature log. Oh my God. I don't even get it. Did I not stick the landing? What is that? Can you explain it? Prologue.
I had a typo. It was supposed to say amateur log instead of prologue.
I get it now. I get it now. Oh, that was actually really good. And you messed. You did not stick the landing with a typo. Oh, and I read it verbatim because I'm Rod Burgundy. And we're just sitting. Also, if you remember Plush, you get access to great sound effects, just like Aaron there. Chef's kiss for that one. I thought that would be a lot of fun to kind of make things more interesting around here. If you do want to join and support Maude's book club, you could, your passive, which is just I want to follow and watch, which is what you're doing right now. You've got your active, which is I want to be a part of the Discord. I want to unlock the channels. I want to pay $5 a month so I can become a member. And you got your interactive, which is I want to be in the show. I want to be in that show. I want to be in the room where the discussion's happening. I want my voice heard. We also have a new tier, which is to do with Maude's book club, and that is merch tier, where as not that one, not that. Don't listen to him. It's a really cool community. You should join on Patreon. But as a community, everyone works with our in-house designer to create exclusive merch that is sent out to all the merch tier members. You cannot buy it. So in jokes, anything that they want, we make for them as a collective, which is really, really cool. In fact, the first shirts are being sent out as we speak. Who's got their exclusive merch design yet? Jimmy's showing me that he's got the Let Them Smooch t-shirt on, which is awesome. I saw KP Dub sipping out of a Maude's Book Club mug. My fave. We got a Maude's Book Club water bottle and coaster. Thank you, Aaron, for that one. Vaden's got OG merch. Just being like, remember this one? I sure do. I got that in my pantry, in my whatever that is. Oh, yep, that's it. And KP Dubs is showing that as well. One day people will be able to see the magic, but it's a perk that you can get. So that's some housekeeping that we got. Join on social medias as well. And put it in the calendar. Next Wednesday, we're going to be talking about the second half of this book. Oh, Bartleby Prime just became a member. Where's a round of applause? I just immediately thought of a duck clap, but that's not it. We want... Oh, not that one. This one. My hand slipped. Bartleby Prime is now a member.
What have we here?
Yes, fantastic stuff. Bartleby Prime, once you're in the Discord, it's going to be completely opened up for you, and I'll say hi to you in the show chat. Will P says, I have joined you on the beer train. Yes, hi. Loving that one. And Chris put up a GIF, got to be in the room where it happens. You're exactly right. KPW says, I have not shut up about these books to everyone at work for 3 weeks now. We like to kick off part ones with like a bit of a vibe check. Are you digging the book? Is book good? So hold on. Bartleby Prime says, yeah, that sad trombone's about right. What's the joke about any club that would have me as a member? Hey, Barnaby Prime, we welcome you with open arms here. It's so lovely to have you as a part of the community. Really excited to hear your thoughts about the book. I apologize about the sad trombone. I'm surprised no one sad tromboned me in this moment. Look at Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. Kay Frito says, welcome to Patreon. Yay. Vaden says, I've been recommending them to everyone as well. This is the reason why I had it for Maude's Book Club. One of my gorgeous, gorgeous friends, Claire Grant, got stuck into the audiobooks for this about a year ago and absolutely blitzed through the entire the series, sorry. And the whole time was like, please, please read this book. It's called Dungeon Crawler Carl. You are going to absolutely be obsessed. And I was like, oh, you know what? I've got so many books to read. I'll get to it. And I finally did. Keep It Up says, from Team Unicorn fame, Claire's great. Claire is amazing. And we have very similar taste with what we like. We're both big nerds. Anyway, about a month later, I, in all caps, like donut, contacting through the comms, I was just like, oh my God, how have you not talked to me about this book before? I'm so obsessed with it. And she's like, girl, catch up. Like, I've been trying to tell you about this. And I was like, it is so good. And it was just a matter of trying to get everyone in the club into it, but it kept getting pushed back. Here we are. And hopefully we're all obsessed. Thierry says, love book 1, and they just keep getting better and better, which is kind of hard to do. We've had series in this book club before where it's second book syndrome, where the second book just doesn't cut it. This is book number 2. I'm going to go around into the Club Plus members, starting off with Nick there. Nick, is Carl's Doomsday scenario, is book good? Oh, wait, is Nick?
Yes.
Oh, you're there.
Book
Great.
good. Yes. Yeah. I was a little worried after book 1 that it was going to be repetitive. It was going to be like, okay, get to a new neighborhood, new mob, boss. New mob, new boss.
Rinse and repeat.
It was kind of like that in book 1, but yes. So I was a little worried it was going to fall into that, but book 2 so far has been good.
Did you stop at chapter 14? Did you?
I did stop. Yep.
I feel like that is.
I can sometimes have self-control.
That's an achievement.
Yeah.
New achievement. You finished at the allocated time where you were supposed to. Reward.
Follow directions.
Gold star. From me, gold star. Toast Poster says, book good. They get to choose their class. We're going to go into that big time. Colleen says, at one point, my grandkids sat in the car until we finished chapter 7 so that Donut could open up her box. I love that. Gosh, we're all loot goblins, aren't we? Saturn 923, thanks so much for the follow. Welcome to Maude's Book Club. We are currently talking about Carl's Doomsday Scenario, which is book number 2 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. If you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons, if you've ever played video games, if you've ever been obsessed with fantasy, this series is for you. Prepare to laugh out loud and enjoy this one. Next, Tim. Now, did you read this one yet? No, he's just shaking his head. And he's literally got work in front of him and he's like on the clock working right now. I appreciate your commitment to the club though. Gold star, round of applause. We love that. We love that level of... Okay, that one I did on purpose. I did that on purpose.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Gave it up says he's just here for the puns and the physics. Yeah, true. Oh my gosh.
I wasn't so busy I'd be angry.
He doesn't even have time to be mad at me. All right, so I will move on. Colleen, are you finding book good? You gave the last book 5 out of 5. How are we feeling here?
Oh, I love this book. There's kind of a different tone to it. I don't find it quite as blatantly humorous. But I mean, there's a or drama or emotion to it, but it's so good. It's so engaging. I'm going to hound my grandkids till they read them all.
I love that. And that's the thing. Like, it is entertaining for anyone. As long as you kind of get the gist of what stat points are, how you would spend them, what kind of character you would become, this thing just feeds your nerdy soul. Aaron, you've managed to read quite a lot lately. How did you find the first and the second, well, first half of the second book?
Yeah, I've been kind of. The weird thing is, at work, I've had to like be on a lot of phone time instead of my regular work, which keeps me away from the audiobook. But now that I'm just basically waiting in between calls, I just basically have the audiobook on, listening
Wow.
in, so I can have something to do. So being able to keep up finally. The book itself, I am really enjoying it. I gave it like a 4 out of 5 so far, but only because like I need to know what how the whole thing is before I can give him a final score. But
so far,
what we
so
give it
good?
So far, so good. I did like how like ominous the line was from Mordecai, like, "Hey, you're done with the training levels." First 2 levels where like over 10 million people or 13 million people have died.
Yeah.
Training levels.
Yeah. And now we get to the good part, and it's under 1 million left. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
600,000 or something like that.
It just keeps going down. And you'll hear like the reports. So they'll do like a little recap segment where it's like, these are the biggest things that happened in the dungeon today in the last 24 hours. And it's just like, oh yeah, someone stumbled upon like an elite boss too early, and it just wiped out everyone in about 4 seconds. And you're just like, if you turn the wrong corner.
And they treat those instances like patch notes, like things or
Oops,
something like that. It's like,
how bad?
Like don't worry about the fact that hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people have died. It's like because of our stupidity. We'll just fix that so the next group doesn't have to worry about it.
I know, and that just increases the stakes here, because even if you're skilled, you could have bad luck and you die permanently.
And I am at least enjoying how clever Carl is becoming over time. Like he has stopped becoming like the holy fuck like anybody else would be, and now he's more like, okay, I got my game face on, literally, and he's just ready to get to work to get this done.
He is learning the ins and outs of this, and he's even learning the loopholes as well, and exploiting those.
Finding out of the box moments to work with. Yes.
Yeah, I'm loving that. Bartleby Prime says in book 6 now. Some of you just already book 6. They remain clever, entertaining, and surprisingly poignant. I'm waiting for the books to get patched because pantless classes are extremely OP. Love that. Odd the Quiet says our stupidity. Oh, someone said as a collective, our stupidity. Hey. If you're stupid, do not include me. Okay, so I've just really kind of learnt how Odd the Quiet would be in this game. If you aren't at your level and if you're not going to be better, you bolt. It's like, hey, I'm not going to be brought down. You're a liability. You could kill me. I'm on my own. Toaster Post says banal evil is scary. Yeah, well said. Aaron says, I just bought the rest of the audiobooks because I'm hooked. Have you only been reading them thus far, or is it just because you've been doing the audio through work?
I only have the audiobooks, but I really love like the production quality of the audiobook, so I'm just going to stick with that the whole way.
Guys, shout out to Jeff Hayes, who, as I've said, has firmly gotten the gold podium. #1 in my eyes, the best audiobook narrator, I think.
Might try to get him in December when we do book 3 and 4.
I'm glad you said that. In fact, we should probably clip this and send it to Jeff Hayes and see if he'd be down to have a chat with us. I've seen clips of Jeff going between, like reading the book and effortlessly going between Carl, Donut, they're all his voices. It is just a thing to watch. So Jeff Hayes is just it brings this book to life, and it just takes it to the next level. Pun intended. KP Dubs, for the first time, you've read ahead. It must be a pretty good book if you couldn't stop.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I would say the first book so far, I gave it a 5 out of 5. This one I'm at like 4.9 out of 5. And a lot of things Colleen already said, it's changed its tone a little bit. The humor's a little different, but still there. Starting to see a little bit more heart.
Yeah.
And then also, Carl is showing like street smarts way beyond like the intelligence that the game has given him credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Finding ways to get around what the game is trying to get you to do to solve a dungeon or defeat a monster, and doing it his own way.
Yes.
He's getting rewarded for it, which is...
For now. Yes. Lisa, this is not usually your book of choice. I think this is the first time you've read Lit RPG.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it. I actually did go over a little bit.
It was an accident though. As soon as you found out, you
it's just a
stopped.
chapter. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was crocheting and not paying attention to where I was at. But,
Hold on, what are you crocheting at the moment? It looks beautiful. There's a lot of fabric there.
My niece is making me make her a Harry Styles sweater.
Well done.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but yeah. So
Plus 5 skill of crocheting.
But yeah, I think I like this one a little bit better than the first book. I think I like the introduction of the side quest. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I really like the whole thing with Signet.
Yep.
That was probably like the most interesting part that's happened so far. So I'm liking it.
We are getting introduced to new characters, and we're seeing sort of like the depth of what an NPC can do in game. So it's really ramping it up. You're right. Kate, how are you finding the book number 2?
I'm really, really liking it so far. There's a lot more. I feel like the first one is like very, as Mordecai said, was very like entry levels, where, you know, you're starting the game and it's like, you're pretty much just doing a dungeon crawl, and like, it's pretty, you have one goal. It's like a pretty straight line, you know, in terms of just not a lot of extra stuff going on.
Yeah.
But now it's
you're meat and potatoes.
Yeah, it's adding all these extra layers now that we as readers kind of know the rules, and as Carl is kind of like, as all the crawlers are comfortable as well. And there's like, you know, the side quests happening. Like, I'm really curious what's going on with all the sex workers and like all that mystery with the orc NPC. So there's like a lot of that kind of stuff that's, you know, we haven't even seen any of the dangled hooks from the first book yet. And I didn't read ahead, so I don't know if they do show up, but like, we didn't see Frank or Maggie, and we haven't seen like the Maestro. So there's like things that it's like, I feel like is going to pay off in like book 3 or book 4. But now it's like, you know, we have these totally other things going on, which is really good. So I think I'm liking it just as much as the first one, but for different reasons, I guess. And I'm glad, like, I was kind of planning to skip this series actually, because I'm so burnt out on fantasy, but this one's not really like high fantasy, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's kind of like a fun, like popcorn romp. So I'm glad I didn't skip it.
I am too. Thank you. Yeah, I sneezed so hard I screamed, but I'd muted in time. Haha. This is your first game lit RPG?
It is, and I've also been like in that group where I've been telling everyone around me about it. I'm trying to get like the people in my D&D group to read it.
I love hearing that. I do have a collection of girlfriends, you know, that Claire's obviously gotten to already as well. And we're like so thrilled that like more and more people are finding out about this hidden gem. It's so good. You gave me a scream count even though you didn't hear it, K Frito. No, I got 58. We're talking about NPCs in the chat here. Aaron says NPCs feel like Renaissance players, but they don't even realize that they are. Colleen says NPCs are property of the Borant Corporation and they mess with them bad. KPW says, lol, my D&D group is reading it and they're here in the chat. Who's in the chat? Oh, you. Oh, you guys.
Jimmy and I.
Got it. You guys are in the D&D group together. That's cute. I actually really love that the community is like branching off in their own little communities to play D&D. I think that's a lot of fun. Bartleby Prime says, I'm torn between telling my D&D friends about this book and having a really well fleshed out world to take them through first. Ooh. Black Belt says Matt Dinniman did a great job of laying out the full series from the beginning, and you can tell that from book 1 and 2 already, which is impressive. Yeah, it's mapped out, which is what I've been talking to my brother about, which is really important. Tass screamed in all caps, just like a la Donut, Princess Donut. Lisa, I will need photos when it's done. Colleen says same, and Lisa's posted a picture of Harry's sweater. We love that. Good crocheting. Just wanted to check in with the show chat there. Next up, I'd like to hear from you, Jimmy. How you finding book 2? Where did my dog go? How you finding book 2?
I'm enjoying it. I like the updates, you know, like because a few said before that it's more serious, more of a serious side. You know, I'm pretty sure if Carl ever gets his pants, that will make news. I'm just saying that just makes logical sense to me because Who knows how long this man will not have pants?
He's like pretty much nearly naked from the waist down. He's got a pair of boxer shorts and that's it. That is it. Now, speaking about like feeling vulnerable, where like animals are charging at you, people are throwing, well, not people, like lemurs are throwing knives at you, and you are just piece of cloth. That's it.
Like, I have a feeling that his pants is going to be like an ultimate boss one time. Maybe. That's just a spitball.
Take down the pants and put them on.
Exactly. But overall, good book, yeah.
Bartleby Prime, I don't think we've gotten to those yet. Have we? Can someone confirm or deny Bartleby's comment? I don't want to say it out loud. Just in case.
Yeah, it was in book 1.
Okay, we got knee pads. We got knee pads. Okay, good. And now they're supercharged boxers. Exactly. Upgraded boxer pants. Lisa says, I was cracking up when his boxers were upgraded and now he can't even wear pants over them. Oddball saying there's a murder chicken sitting on his lap. Yeah, that's very vulnerable as well. Black Belt said, I said it on Fable. Carl is really lucky the upgrade that he got for his boxers kept them as boxers and didn't turn them into like Speedos or something. Yeah. Vaden says, you must defeat the pants to wear the pants. I actually really like that. Aaron's saying the AI and system is messing with him about it too. Yep, anything that you say can be used against you. So you have to be careful about that. And that's a big theme here as well. Robin, how are you finding this book?
I was originally finding it slow. And then I realized that I took a micro nap and didn't hear the whole part about Tsarina Signet.
Oh, right. So you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, so then she showed up and knocked them unconscious, and I was like, what is happening? And so I had to go back and listen to it again.
Hold on, so
and I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense.
You got knocked unconscious around the same time that they did?
A little before, yeah.
That's quite funny, actually. That's brilliant. When the words actually bring things to life. Oh, yeah, it could have been a Borat yellow number. Ooh, lime green. Ooh, that'd be terrible. Terry, can you remember book 2 since you're so far ahead now?
Yeah, I remember that book 2 is tied up with book 5.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's a spoiler. That's a spoiler.
Well, for the one that...
I was like, hey, don't spoil. You're like, I'm fine. Here is a very blatant spoiler.
Yeah.
Mute him. Mute.
Returning characters.
Muting. Yeah, he's muted. He's muted. Sorry, he's talking still. No.
I would say not really a spoiler.
Yeah,
not
for
really a
book
spoiler. Because books, or they keep saying levels 3, 6, 9, 12 are connected. So I don't think that's really a spoiler.
Yeah, it has been foreshadowing.
Because, yeah, they said that the story of Signet is tied up to those other levels. So, but yeah, the circus part made me remember kind of a previous book that we've read that had a circus in it, like a nightmare circus.
Ray Bradbury.
Yes.
Yep. Something wicked this way comes. Something wicked this way comes. Yep.
It made me remember that book and how it's kind of like okay, so there's a cursed circus and there's a character that wants to get the help from Carl to free the people in the circus. And it's kind of funny that of all the people on this level, she gets to Carl, and we don't know, and because she could have gone to other crawlers, but it was Carl, and there's no other like
crawlers
character
around
that gets that story.
Yeah, they've chosen him. He's been selected. And is that a good thing or not? We don't know yet, since there's a couple of times she's wanted to kill them both. So it could have been over quite quickly. Yeah. And like Mordecai being like, run, get out. Like, this is bad news. Do not have that happen to you. So yeah, they're in the thick of it now. KPW says the mobs were called Terror the Clown, which is both repetitive and redundant. I believe it's called a malaprop, where it's like you say the same thing twice. Word of the day, malaprop. That Slender Man kind of clown thing. I'd be done. I would be so far running the other way if that was coming towards me. And like the things that are happening in game, because it's real. Like he's really throwing up these words.
To be fair, he did the other option.
Hold on, Aaron first.
He did he basically did one of the two things you should do: run, like you said, or in his case, punch the shit out of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't look back. Just what were you saying, Kate?
I was gonna say the giraffes though, because like creepy clowns is a thing, like a trope.
Yeah.
It's in a lot of stuff. But the fact that it was like the knife-wielding lemurs that were riding artillery giraffes was so funny and such a crazy image. Like, it was so good.
It's also made of nightmares. It's straight out of someone's nightmare. Yeah. It's different definition. It's the mistaken use of a word in place of a similar sounding one. Shut up. I just did it.
Okay, you're demonstrating for us how to use it properly.
Oh, that's too good. Today we learned a lot. Bartleby Prime says, I don't remember feeling so wrenched out of the game in book one. You grieve for the world, but then you kind of get into it. This one felt like you had the game, then the game NPC backstory, and then a reality check, constantly pulling you in the same directions Carl keeps going. Lovely. Well said. Clever Girl says Signet wasn't an elite and Carl was warned about elites. Yeah, so that's how that happened. The giraffes were AT-ATs. I love that. Coulrophobia is the word for irrational fear of clowns, which is so wrong. It's totally rational. They're totally not cool. You know, I was never afraid of clowns. I remember a boyfriend that I had when I was like 23 was petrified. And we were at the Sydney Luna Park, which like had clowns walking around. And like to see a grown man like freak out. And I was like, but it's just a person. Ever since then, I've like gotten it more and more and more. And now I don't want to be around near a clown at all. I don't want anything to do with clowns. And it's like, it's interesting how I've like learned that fear. I know you haven't seen it, Maude, but the clowns were very Terrifier. What's Terrifier, Kate?
Very, very gory horror movie series with a clown as the main villain.
I'll never watch that. You couldn't pay me to watch that. There's no world in which I'm going to watch that. I'm like, so good. Thanks. Black Belt says, hopefully Carl doesn't have a phobia or doesn't show that he has one. Oh yeah, I'd be done. I'd be so done in this show. Like anything that I'm afraid of, it would be like right there. And it's like, it'd be a choice, you know? Do I want to get through this and live another day? Or that's the thing. It's like, if I'm going to be repeatedly faced with my ever-loving fear, like I'd be back in that Waffle House. Bartleby Prime says you have to spend a lot of time to either look happy creepy or evil creepy as a clown. That's true. That's true. Terry says the Slender Man clown. I imagine Art the Clown from Terrifier. Oh, yeah, I don't want to ever see it. Don't post it in show chat. Someone's probably posted it in show chat. Who posted it in show chat? No, no one. Oh, there it is. Oh, well, there! God damn it, Terry. God damn it. That's messed up. If you remember, feel free to check out the most horrifying thing you've ever seen today. Colleen, don't look. I can see you looking at it. I can see you trying to find the button to click into it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Did you see it? Are you scary? Oh well. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I can't tolerate it.
I raised the clown itself and more what he does in the movie. That's terrifying.
Oh God, I don't want to know. What were you saying, Colleen?
You don't.
I raised 5 boys in top middle school. It's pretty hard to scare me.
Where is it? Colleen, everyone. Colleen. Oh, we did that at the same time. Colleen has... Thank you, Colleen. Well done. One more. Kate says, I'd honestly be pretty good in these types of situations. I only have one phobia and it's pregnancy, and yet I would dip out early. Oh, you'd still dip out early on. What if they decided to not going down that road. I was like, what if they decided to build a show around that? But like, if you don't want to get pregnant, that's a red flag. red
A
flag.
show built around forced pregnancy is a very different vibe from this book.
Yep. But the thing is,
or they just do the bit in Resident Evil 8 Village with the screaming illusion baby thing.
or it could be
It's
an
called the
immaculate,
Ant-Man spells.
the immaculate conception.
It's not the baby part that is like, well, I mean, I don't like babies anyway, but it's the pregnancy part that I don't like. It's a parasite living in your body that can't live without it, stealing your life force like a selfish little brat.
Kate.
Hey, tell us how you really feel. Don't hold back.
Well, mine would be Cane Toad, so that's just a very different arc in stories right there. Vaden says, not wrong, to be honest. There you go. And Robin says, you just put into words exactly how I feel. So there we are, here at Maude's Book Club. Please share opinions. There's no wrong opinion here. All right, let's... Vaden, last but not least, how are you finding book 2? Tell me how you feeling with it all.
Oh, I'm loving it. Just like the other books, like this whole storyline and being introduced to the AI or to the quest lines and the elites and all this stuff is really interesting because now we know that it's not just there's all these like subplots within the series, and so now we know that there's a storyline that's going on the 3rd floor and other floors later on with Signet. So we know there's like a meant to be like an arc to it, like it's meant to continue. So we know that we're gonna probably see them again.
Mhm.
Something's gonna happen with them. We know that Carl needs to like continue and needs to do what he can to get himself involved. Like, and he does that later. He actually inserts himself as much as he can in the story and basically appeals to the producers and say, "Hey, look, I'm good for ratings. So is Donut. You want us to be alive to continue." So he convinces them to essentially help him stay alive.
I'm writing a note so I don't forget it, and I'm typing so fast in the show notes. But I just came up with something that I hadn't really noticed before, and it's based off what Kate just said. Mordecai is now the messiest one too. Ha ha ha. Keep It Up says it's very open world. This game would have so much replayability if it went for the whole dying thing. Aaron says, yeah, that's the reason it's not a 5 for me, is the constant drunk Mordecai. I do have many thoughts about that. Let's get stuck into the plot and what happens, and many thoughts and questions that I would like to pose to everyone about Carl's Doomsday scenario. The training levels have concluded. Now, the games may truly begin. The ratings and views are off the chart. The fans just can't get enough. The dungeon gets more dangerous each day. But in a grinder designed to chew up and spit out crawlers by the millions, Carl and Princess Donut need to work harder than ever just to survive. They call it the Overcity, a sprawling, once thriving metropolis devastated by a mysterious calamity. But these streets are far from abandoned. An undead circus trolls the ruins. Murdered prostitutes rain from the sky. That might be a little bit of a spoiler. Carl still has no pants. And that's the most important part. They call it Dungeon Crawler World. For Carl and Donut, it is anything but a game. That's what this is all about. The story focuses on Carl, a 27-year-old US Coast Guard veteran who's worked as a marine technician fixing electrical systems for rich assholes and their party boats. He lived with his girlfriend, Beatrice, and her award-winning cat, Princess Donut, the Queen Anne Chonk. He survived the collapse because Princess Donut had escaped the apartment and he was outside looking for her. So those two have teamed up, and in the end of the first book, they got rewarded a pet box. Basically, like there was like a secret pet room and they were able to choose a pet, and that pet is Mongo. Princess Donut owns and is training Mongo. She calls him basically her son, and that she's the mother. Mongo is a baby feather velociraptor that keeps getting bigger and bigger. Good pet to have, if you ask me. We've got Mordecai, who is the training NPC, who's been helping Carl and Donut as the guide for the dungeon. He's kind of like an indentured servant for Borant, tasked with helping the corporation run these crawls. He was once an avian race called Skyfowl, but he chose the changeling race when he was a crawler in the game. Zev is the Borant Corporation Assistant Communications Representative, PR, and Dungeon Admin. She's also the PR agent to the Royal Court of Princess Donut. Donut and her friends, and they bonded over their shared interest in Earth television. We also meet Serena, Signet, and Grimaldi, which we will get into. We kick off book 2 with something that I find incredibly fun and interesting. They get to choose their race and class. Now, if you've ever played an RPG game, it depends how extensive the character creation can be. You can choose your class or your race. Sometimes it's quite limited. Sometimes it's, in this case, it is vastly extensive. I like to spend a lot of time trying to make the characters look exactly like me. Throwback to 2014 Elder Scroll Online, where I made the better version of me, and it turns out I made Taylor Swift. I made a character that looked exactly like Taylor Swift. I will eventually put it in the show chat for you. It's not even like if you squint, you'll see it. It is so obviously Taylor Swift, and I didn't mean to do that. But what does that say about me? The perfect version of Maude is Taylor Swift. She was a sorcerer, by the way. So Donut starts off choosing her class and race. She's very not indecisive. She's very decisive. She's made up her mind she's going to stay a cat. Doesn't matter what the racial perks are. Does not matter if she could have a character that would be way more beneficial for Carl. As a true cat, she wants to stay a cat. It's the principle. Then it comes time to pick her class. Now, this is where things get very interesting. Usually we are learning with Carl. We are learning the ins and outs. Impulsive, KP saying there's quite a big difference between impulsive and decisive. Yes. Thank you for correcting me. You're 100% right. If Maude wrote this series, book 2 would have been Donut choosing class and race, and book 2 would have been Carl. Book 3, you mean? Book 3 would have been Carl. Yeah, the whole book. It's fine. She's presented with a number of different class options, including Necrobard, which sounded amazing. She'd be using her reanimation corpse spell. She'd be raising the dead, and she would also be using song to cast spells. There was another one called Artist Alley, which was basically like getting percentages off at a lot of stores. So money off items, money off upgrades, builds, all that kind of stuff. But it turns out that Carl and Donut have information that Odette, who is a previous crawler that did exceptionally well and is now a television host that has her own show where she interviews crawlers, she's been feeding Carl and Donut information. And the big one that she's fed to them in this particular crawling game is that Donut will have access to a manager benefit within the former child actor class. She knows Mordecai because she was Mordecai's game master, like, you know, the game help tutorial guide in the crawl. She knows Mordecai very well. There's been a falling out that we are not privy to. They are not talking. Odette's tried to extend an olive branch. Mordecai's like, so she's strategized the best way to get access to this manager perk without burning a bridge. And so we learn that they have this whole facade, this smoke and mirrors, little song and dance to try and not let Mordecai in on the fact that they are going to be absolutely using him as an asset in this game. Whatever history Mordecai has with this, obviously Odette knows him better than anyone, and to get the best sort of response out of Mordecai, they have to do it this way, and it's really sneaky. So essentially they're going through all of her class options, and they're not allowed to ask about the manager benefit, and she's going to pretend to choose another one and then accidentally stumble or be impulsive and choose the former child actor. The manager perk the benefit is massive. And I have a question for everyone that I want to ask. So the manager benefit unlocks him from a tutorial guide to a manager, which means anything that he previously was not allowed to tell them, he can now tell them. It's essentially having a walkthrough as you complete the dungeon. Now, walkthroughs are considered cheating because it's someone telling you how to play the game, but this is life or death. So having a manager benefit where he can tell you essentially how to take on the bosses, what everything means, ways to hack the system, how to be the best that you can be, how to manage your stats, how you should optimize your build, everything like this. It is such a mountain of information that I think is a completely overpowered benefit. Do you think, I mean, obviously there's a reason why they wanted to unlock Mordecai. Do you think that this is going to be an absolute game changer, or do you think it is a broken perk, a broken benefit? Aaron, your hands up. Oh no, Kate. No, I can't see you with a hands up, so you get to unmute. Go for it, Kate. Oh no,
go, Kate.
I'm doing Kate first.
Go,
Kate.
yeah.
So I think it's something that has a very like a double-edged sword because yeah, it made him OP, but Mordecai can only go by his memory now.
Yes, exactly.
So,
that's what Tommy Green or Tome Green. I'm sorry, I don't know. This is your first time chatting. So yay! Where's my applause? Yay! Tome Green or Tommy Green. You let me know how that one said. He loses his system access, so he solely has to rely on his memory. But Mordecai is still OP. So yes, on that note,
as they get down to the further floors, which are vastly more difficult, he might start to forget things. Like, I don't know, because he'll be further away from like when he had access to the tutorial. So right now he's got his highest memory, and as they get down to like floor 11, 12, 13, he's going to forget a lot of stuff. And there's also the thing
because he hasn't got notes on this. He only experienced it once, but he's probably seen the first few levels numerous
times.
Also
the thing too is they kind of really screwed Mordecai over to get it. So it's like, yeah, it's OP, but like if you think about it from Mordecai's point of view, like his whole existence has been jerked around by these companies doing this dungeon crawl, and he keeps getting like promised that he's gonna, you know, get put down a further level, have more freedom, this and that, and he just keeps putting in, and then he has these few comforts that he can go. He was talking about, it's like there's these rooms that the crawlers can't go to, and like all these like privacy things, and now he doesn't have any of that. So
this entire crawl has been hijacked by these two now.
Yes. Well, and the thing is like he traded one prison for one that he didn't even have a choice in because they did this against his will.
Yes.
So people are saying it's like he's drunk, but it's like, of course he is. Like, not only was his world destroyed and he had to be forced to be a game tutorial person for however many, you know, years and years and years and years, now he's been ripped out of that too, with the promise, like we as the reader know that the promises to these NPCs don't mean anything. Like they're, you know, being jerked around at all corners.
Yeah.
They're being promised all this stuff that we as readers are like, they're never going to give these NPCs any of this stuff. But Mordecai doesn't really know that. He might know it deep down, but I think he's like hoping against hope that, you know, he's going to be saved at the end. He's going to be given these perks finally. He'll get to go down to like the good levels.
No, the gold code,
and all that is all gone. It's all gone now.
Goalposts keep getting moved on him. Yes.
The thing is, if I were Mordecai and I was more vindictive, see, I don't like, I stopped at the thing, so I don't know anything else. I might not be honest.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to tell them the truth. He's he's a stand-up character, so I am giving the benefit that he is telling them the truth, but he doesn't have to.
Mm-mm.
And obviously, the tutorial people weren't bound by laws because Frank and Maggie's tutorial person told them that they had to kill all the other crawlers.
That's an assumption that we're making, but yes.
Yeah, maybe Mordecai isn't telling the truth. And the thing is like, they got a lot of benefits fighting, like with the elite person, and it's like Mordecai didn't want them to do any of that stuff.
No.
And yeah, it's for their own benefit because it was insanely dangerous for Carl to do that, but that's his ingenuity coming into play, that he figured out that situation. And Mordecai is essentially like cock blocking and being like, no, you're going to do this. You're going to follow this path. You're not going to do any other stuff.
Well, look at the path.
Mordecai,
what's the path that Mordecai's putting them on? Safe, grind, do low threat stuff, and do lots of it. So it's like,
which is also boring. Like
it is, but it's survival.
It's like one of those, like I said, it's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
So like, because Mordecai also has to think about his survival now too.
Mm-hmm. And that explains why he got shit-faced. It explains that like he had big plans for this level. He's got friends here. He wanted to utilize his time, and that time's been taken from him. And so as a bit of a middle finger, he's gone straight to the bars and he's like, you know what? I'm not your bish. Like, even though that you've chosen this particular perk, he's trying to maintain a level of autonomy. So I kind of understand why he's just gone off the rails. And it's also reminding Carl and Donut not to be so heavily dependent on him, because that's not fair either.
Them also doing this isn't exactly a Game Genie thing, because like Lucia Marr is still way more powerful than them.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, they're not the OP crawlers right now. They're good, like they're really good and they're popular, but
they're not the most powerful.
It's like, yeah, it's like he didn't immediately become like, you know, a level 99 character in a level 1 dungeon, you know what I mean? So Mordecai can give them things, but I don't think it's like this end-all be-all OP thing that it would seem, you know what I mean?
Okay. Aaron, you were talking earlier. Do you have the same point? Because I know that Terry's got his hand up and wants to continue that conversation.
It kind of falls in the same line that Kate did, but I kind of have like the alternative perspective on like, you know, yes, I can sympathize that obviously Mordecai has had traumatic things. His brother died. He was in the same crawl with him. They were a team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of alluded that, you know, Odette screwed them over and that probably got his brother killed. And that's why he's partially resentful. At least that's my theory. But from my own personal experience, I've lived my life with alcoholics, and I kind of have no sympathy for them. It's only in the regards that Mordecai has people who rely on him for their survival. Like, without him, they have a far less likely chance to survive this whole thing. And I get where Mordecai's coming from. It's like, take the safe route. You'll get stronger, you know, early on so that you can take on the stronger threats, because he knows what's coming down the pipeline, that they're going to get wrecked if they're not careful. Like, they've already saw just 2 levels, 10 million people died.
Yep.
But I think Mordecai's also being a little short-sighted in the fact that it's like, because Carl and Donut know if they get to a certain point, like, you know, because they're his crawlers that he's assigned to, if they get to a certain level, like to like the 9th level, I think, like, he's guaranteed that he doesn't have to do this anymore after this whole thing's done.
Yeah. So it is in his best interest. Yeah.
Exactly. It's in his best interest to get them to live and to get to the end, because if they die, yeah, he can now get back to his, like, you know, his other perks that he had, but
it's adding another. It's not just, and this is the thing we learned about Mordecai. It's not just the next dungeon. It's the next Bourne Corporation dungeon that he's got his indenture to.
And they're already on the verge of bankruptcy. Like, even if they do okay, they may not be a company anymore. They just may be able to get out of their debts, for all we know. As far as like that whole corporate setup type of things, we don't know. But still, yeah, he's screwed if this doesn't work.
I actually like the perspective of people are relying on you, and your coping mechanism to kind of like deal with this is being incredibly unhelpful with life and death situations right there.
Especially that first incident where it was like they asked him like, hey, you know, should we, like, what's this whole quest thing about? Like, you know, give us some advice so we, you know we're doing the right thing. And he's just in a drunken slur.
Yeah.
You know, just a drunken
He's like, figure it out. Yeah.
Pretty much. And it's like, and they did their thing, and then he's like coming back all pissed. I was like, why the fuck did you do this? Like, you didn't tell us anything. You're in a drunken state, you ass.
True. Thierry, you wanted to add on that?
Yes, about Mordecai. He reminds me of Amish from Hunger Games. He survived, like Amish won the Hunger Games when he was there. He knows how to survive, and he's helping Colin and Donut to the way he won in some kind of way. He made it to that level where he had a choice to continue the dungeon or become an NPC for the future crawls.
Yeah, and he opted out so he could live.
He's an asset. Yeah, he decided to opt out and just have a contract as a training NPC. And as a manager, I think once his Donut makes it past level 4, his contract is over. He's a citizen of
wherever he wants to go. Yeah,
and do whatever.
And maybe even that freedom could be daunting for him as well, because this is all he knows and this is what he's become good at.
Yeah, his race is basically erased. His planet has been consumed by the corporation. So he's
what's left out there
he's
for him.
still fucked up. But he reminds me for this level of Amish, because Amish was a drunk in Hunger Games, and he was giving Katniss and Pitta his feedback on how you survive. Like, yeah, make allies, but not from the top class. And for Frank and his wife, maybe their trainer is like, the way he won the game was by being vicious and a crawler killer. So depending on how their trainer won their game, got to that level 11, they get different aspect. So that's also a way to see it, that depending on how the trainer NPC played the crawl, they're gonna give different advice.
True. Yeah, whatever they know, that they only know their own perspective on what worked. You're exactly right. Vaden, thank you so much for gifting subs to Will and to Tommy, to me, who actually just commented earlier saying, also right now Maude, that sounds like my name. That's a problem. The fact that M-O-R-D-I and M-A-U-D-E sound the same, that's great. Maude doesn't know Carl/Donut really well. He's had what? Less than 10 interactions over 2 weeks so far? Great point. Will says it's definitely powerful having a game guide. Every dungeon is different apparently, so we can't know everything. By losing system access, it makes sure that he can't look into anything specific or into the specific details of the dungeon. So it's helpful, but it could also be wrong about things and actually hurt Carl, etc. Clever Girl says if he finds out about the deception, it's going to really sour the relationship. Amanda Tass says, reminder, no spoilers for anything after the first half of book 2. Why do you know that, Tass? How come you know what a spoiler is and not? I know. Tass read ahead. Tass read ahead. That's a good day if I can get Tass to read ahead. That's a good book. Book good. KPW says Mordecai, if he is being selfish, needs to get them to the level 4. Once that happens, maybe he will change. Also, Mordecai seems to no longer be watched as closely by the showrunners. This may be the big advantage that Odette was playing towards. Nice. Butterby Prime says, true, the NPCs and managers all have their own objectives with rewards, and they're starting to peel back that veil. Carl mentions that he's suspicious of Odette, but he has to rely on it being good for her to live for a while longer. Miss Necromancer says that they probably won't get out of their debts if they have Agatha as a spy within the game. Yep, that's another little subplot that's happening here. Vaden says, who knows what happens if Mordecai's indentured status gets transferred to another game show? Does he just die? We don't know. Barnaby Prime says, yeah, that's a great point. You can likely trust him to get to level 4, but then does he even care? Is he just prepping you to keep going? Or is that where his minimum and maximum effort ends? Keep It Up says, Mordecai was mortified by being a manager. Nice pun. Pun points. Odette was Mordecai's trainer and now is a citizen. Exactly, says Thierry. Colleen says, can Mordecai really trust the Borant Company to keep their promise? The more we learn about the Borant Company, the more that is less likely. Vaden says, Mordecai did some really fun, sneaky stuff already when he drugged the Bobka and borrowed their newsletter, giving valuable information to Carl and Donut. There you go. Keep It Up says, yeah, he could not do that as a tutorial guide. Exactly. Okay, moving on. Some of the questions that I wanted to ask, but it sounds like we're getting there. Why are they trusting of Odette over Mordecai? Who should they trust more? Thoughts on that, anyone? Because now it's like a little bit of an info triangle, and the more we might start finding out that they're giving opposing information. So who's more educated? Who's got better strategy? I mean, Odette knows Mordecai very, very well, but then again, so does Mordecai. Says not to trust anyone because they've got their own agenda. Why are they listening to Odette? They're the questions I'm putting out there. The Dark Knight 403, thanks so much for the follow. Welcome to Maude's Book Club. K. Frito says it seems like Carl has his own plan. Yeah, not die. not die. So I guess it's like they're pooling all resources and picking and choosing what works for them. Speaking of choosing classes and races, Carl is a primal, compensated anarchist. Now, the primal looks exactly the same, but they can train any skill beyond normal limit. And the compensated anarchist just basically means he's had so many views and he's so popular that they've made a special class for him, which is the enhanced use of explosives. Now, the fact that the AI suggested Bigfoot really does play into this AI kind of thing that's going on. It's like, be an Earth-based class, because like that's something that humans have kind of theorized, that there is a Bigfoot. But the fact that like he's got really, really big feet, and like, you know, it's like if you want to play into the AI and be its pet, it's going to help you out as much as possible because it wants to keep you in the game, but it kind of comes at the cost of your integrity. And it's like, do you really want to be AI's little bish? And he's just like, nope, we're not doing that. But what I wanted to ask everyone, it's announced that 80% of crawlers stayed human. Primal looks human, Donut the cat stayed a cat. There's 20% that would change. But as Mordecai later says, it's like if you're in the dungeon and you're wanting to survive, making it like when you're given the chance to change, it's a really, really big thing and it can actually be quite scary. But also when you're having to figure out a new body, like being a foot taller or shorter changes your equilibrium. It changes your center of gravity. If you've got new arms, you have to figure out real fast how to make that your new normal. And so it's like if you've spent your entire life a particular way, that actually ends up becoming an asset. I wanted to ask the Plus members though, would you stay human? Who would change completely? And if you were to change completely, I mean, I'd be Taylor Swift, obviously. But if you were to change, she's also 5'11", so it's totally okay. I would just look like a better version of me. What would you change into? Kate actually puts like a massive amount of logic onto the argument that no one would change. Look at how society reacts to trans people. Imagine those people wrapping their heads around being a whole new race. Change is hard. KPW says, think about how awkward we all were as teens when we grew 6 inches in 6 months. You tripped all the time. Clever Girl says, Lucia changed a lot. She was almost a teenager. She was like 13 years old, and now she's not just a fully grown woman, but she's a fully grown demon skull lady too. She took an extreme change. So she grew up, pun intended, real fast. K. Frito says, Taz, way to throw some shade at me.
That girl basically went the full emo punk stage and then some.
And then some. But this is a permanent thing. So she will permanently be spending 12 hours as one body with one set of stats and then completely change. So she not only has to learn to use two new bodies, but she will have to 100% change her fighting styles twice a day. And like to go from using your strength stats to using your spell stats, that is so different. So she has to expertise, be an expert in two completely polarizing ways of fighting, which is going to be so hard. Kay says, I already want an android body instead of my useless meat sack, so I would definitely change into some sort of robotic android body. So you'd have to like figure out how to grease up your parts instead of having a body. So, okay, so you would absolutely change, Kate?
Yeah, I mean, once you get a certain age, your body starts to fall apart. So, I mean, Brandon was talking about it, that it's like harder for the older people to find a body that, because they can't stay human because, you know, they're falling apart.
Yeah, they're
so
90 plus.
They have to find a race that will mix with the fact that they're not really combatants because they're still all level 1. They're not fighting. And the fact that they need to find something that will work with whatever mental deficiencies they have, like if they have dementia or, you know, any of that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I think I'm kind of over my human body's been through a lot, and I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, I could totally become like Data from Star Trek. That would be kind of cool.
Okay. All right. That's how you see it. I like that. I wouldn't say there's something kind of cool about being a tiefling. Like It's like me, but like the devil on my shoulder just like consumed into me. That's not bad, is it? Or a guardian angel. I could have wings. I could have wings.
Depending on the type of tiefling, you could have the bat leathery wings.
Yeah. I mean, that would be really hard to adjust, but like having flying would be amazing. Now,
Aaron, their own personal cape when they fold in.
Folded in, yeah. But I mean, like if someone cuts my wing, that would be so devastating. And like again, it's like you have to figure out how to fly. That's a whole new thing. Asimar, thank you, Vaden. That is a D&D character. Aaron, you said you'd be a changeling. You'd change into whatever you want. Mordecai doesn't get to choose who he is per level. He's made.
I wonder if that's like I think he's forced to change each level. Like you're stuck here. I bet outside the whole thing, he could be whatever he wanted to be, because he said he like blended in from the 1930s till today on Earth, just scoping things out. So I'm assuming he could probably turn into like other people, like move from city to city or something like that, or change his appearance decade to decade.
True. Yeah, like that's a huge survival technique. If we're talking about surviving, you could blend like that. Is it Tom E? Is it To Me Green? You got to help me out with that one because I want to be able to say your name properly. They say, I wonder how many of the ones that changed race were fixing a floor injury in floors 1 to 2. It's exactly right. I mean, Frank doesn't have a hand. So if he wants to become like a clawed creature, surely like that kind of rectifies anything that he is. Mordecai's a Skrull, says KP Dub. Skrull confirmed. I love how Donut was flabbergasted that people would choose cat boy or cat girl. So it's KP Dub saying that. Oh no, that was Miss Necromancer saying that one. Yeah. What is a cat girl? What is that? Why would anyone want to do that? It's blasphemous. Yeah, like imagine being sort of like a anthropomorphic thing. What if Zell and I both become like Anubis, like god of death? Like we're both like walking dog people and we're like, yeah. What do you think about that? She looks like she's just hanging off the bed. She looks like she's level 3 Mordecai right now. That'd be cool. Zelda, I had a big chat with Zelda last night. I was like, hey, if we went to the dungeon, like we'd be so tight, yeah? We'd be like a good team. And she's looking at me like, I'm a dog. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to pretend that was a yes. Who else would
you give her the pet biscuit?
Yeah. Like, but there was like a big caveat with that one, wasn't there? It was like,
yeah, she could turn into a monster or just become a blob.
That's happened with was it named the goat lady? Some of her goats turned out really well. A couple did and didn't.
I've only got one chance as well.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you had something to say. I saw her hand go up.
The goats, though, that one goat that's walking on 2 legs sounds really cool, though.
Looks like it's a knight in armor or something like that.
Dude,
yeah, I had like a double-bladed axe, I think.
Zell would crush. Well, you know what I'd like to think? I'd like to think that they'd been monitoring Zelda for the last 7 years of her life. And they'd be like, will it be entertaining? Will she provide good entertainment? And the fact that she's like, all the time, they'd probably, deduce that she'd be quite chatty should she be able to have a voice. And she would be a massive asset you hear that, baby girl? You're an asset in the dungeon. Her face, she's like,
asset or ass, depending on.
I think she'd be. I can hear her now.
As in, would she just be a sassy bitch?
She 100% would be. Where do you think she got it from? We would be like, girl. Jason says, what about the girl with the Rottweilers? Her dogs seem helpful, but the dogs aren't sentient. The dogs stayed dogs. And as we know with Mongo, I mean, with the Hodgie's prize, she was able to get like fang clamps. So like you could fix it to your canines and it adds more like chomp damage. And of course it's like, you don't chomp, not great for your teeth. You should put it on Mongo. So it's obvious that you can soup up your pet's abilities and make them more powerful with particular items. She's wearing her little bracelets and her tiara and things like that. Electricity bite. Thank you, Colleen. Kate also says, there's also a big difference between Rottweilers and purse dogs. Hey, you calling Zelda a purse dog? Kate, is this our fight for this episode? Yes, Jimmy. before I get started. Purse dog. She can't fit in her. She's got 4 legs. Oh,
so if I were, if I felt like I needed to change, I would. Like, for example, I mentioned in the chat that I would be more like Wolverine. I would use like my bones to turn the claws, and then I'll have the healing factor as well.
Well, here's the thing. You don't get to choose what it is. The AI is going to predetermine options for you. Do you think the AI is going to assist you in this and think, you know what? Jimmy's kind of put it out there that this would be his ideal thing. Will we give him this so he can live out his best choice? Or are we going to go the exact opposite and give him hot dog fingers, like everything everywhere all at once?
You're saying like the AI would be more attuned to make a joke out of me than being cool. So yeah,
Carl had Bigfoot.
Then yeah, I would not do that if the AI is just going to make a joke out of me.
Exactly, and that's the thing. But knowing that if you go along with the AI, knowing that you become a joke, the AI would want to keep you around a little bit longer because you're becoming a yes man to the AI. So another way to survive. I couldn't do it personally. I couldn't be the butt of a joke. They would probably make my butt really big and I would physically be the butt of the joke. I wouldn't like that at all. It'd like give me powers like toot blast and I'd be like going, let me just take this guy out. Pull my finger,
Maybe
Zelda.
You could be a bard with your butt,
Tim is just like, nope, not doing this. We are not doing this. You'd need a bigger purse. They're calling Zelda a tote dog. Totes, babe. Totes. Kate, did you want to take back the Zelda's a purse dog? She's like 18 pounds. I have to... Come here, bub. Come here. Is this a purse dog? You know that was a wise crack.
A duffel dog?
In terms of fighting ability in a dungeon,
look at her teethies.
Kind of.
Look at her teethies. I actually want Zelda to be Anubis.
Would you want Zelda to go against Lucia Mar and her Rottweilers?
Yes. Or did you just burp? Or did you just burp? She just burped. I mean, if I gave Zelda a pet biscuit and she turns into Anubis and she's like a walking dog-headed person, those Rottweilers are toast. Toast. Zelda with 3 heads, like Cerberus. It's one of those things I read about it and then I never really knew how to say it. And now I'm not confident every time I do. No, that's everyone. That was everyone for that show chat. And that was including me. Maude, remember Zelda versus the inflatable Halloween cat? Yeah, she was real scared of this inflatable cat. We went through it together. You know, I had to kind of tell her that it wasn't going to get... She got scared of like a witch cone, like orange cones that are on the road. She like panicked.
Maude?
Yeah?
For your race class, would you embrace your fears and become like an automaton? Like, would you become Chucky?
Well, I wouldn't want to be under 3 feet tall. I would have to...
like a 6 foot tall Chucky.
Like a Cindy doll from Rugrats?
Kind of. Or that, the one doll
Megan.
from Squid Games, the red light, green light doll.
Ro Panda just says, horrifying. If they were... What are my other choices? Because I think I would choose anything else. Anything else? I wouldn't mind being like...
What if you had to choose between that and a clown?
Fuck. Yes, Truscorn. Chris says Batman has a fear of bats, so he became one. Yeah, thanks, K Frida. No. I think I would I think I would become a mage. I know I'd be a little softer, but I would do like ranged attacks, so I wouldn't have to get my hands dirty. So
I also might change my answer.
Go on. A what?
I'd be a White Race.
What is it?
From Hellraiser.
Talk me through what that looks like.
Pinhead from Hellraiser.
But like, what does that thing do? What does it do? What are its abilities?
You are a priest to one of the avatars of Satan and thus get powers over existential pleasure pain experience.
I just pictured, is it Brandon with that oversized mallet going, here, let me fix that, and just start hammering them all so they're in instead of sitting on top of the face.
No, you can also shoot out chains with hooks at the end.
You gain power from suffering. That's actually a really cool thing. If you get hurt and it actually benefits you, that's actually really good. I mean, I'm gamifying this. I know you're trying to say like the most effed up thing here, but what you're saying is actually could be pretty brilliant. Hellraiser. Like an evil cleric type class. Please tell me how to say your name to me, Tome or Tom E. Please tell me. Stop leaving me out in the lurch where I have to say all three every time just to be good. Plus free acupuncture, says Bartleby Prime. Has anyone else got a race or a class that they would choose? Hector. Unbelievable. It's like you say Chucky 3 times and Hector appears to absolutely make fun of me. You know, when he was at Comic-Con, he took a picture of Chucky just to send to me, being like, wow, it's like you're really here. Unbelievable. Lovely to have you here, Hector. We're talking about if you could become any class or race, what would you be? Double Fudge Someday. Thank you so much for the follow. KP Dubs just gifted a sub to Hector is funny. Yay. Hector says, miss you. Lol.
If they have like the Goliath class from D&D, probably that.
The which? Oh, Goliath?
Yeah.
But what if like the only exit was like a small tunnel and you couldn't fit in it? You're dead. See. Oh, that is effed up.
Find a potion of
Robin, how do I turn her screen off? I don't even like that. It's a Hello Kitty Chucky doll, but I don't like it. Toaster Post would say the closest class to a Jedi. Yeah. Hector is funny, says from Dungeons and Dragons, I'd like to think I'd be a Dragonborn monk, maybe. Hector, you would become this for the rest of your life. So you would sacrifice being Hector as is, and you would turn into a Dragonborn for the rest of your life, and that would be okay. We're just saying that in this book, you get to choose your class and race, and 80% of humans stay human. And we're talking about sort of like the adaptation. If you had the choice to completely be something else, would you take that choice? Or are you so familiar with your human body that you would just want to do that, but enhance it a little bit? Keep It Up says, I'd be some sort of spell casting fighter, like a ranger or a half mage. I was thinking about ranger, because in like a lot of D&D campaigns, I'm an archer. But in real life, if I had to aim like that every single time, I would be terrible unless I got like accuracy buffs and I just found that if I shot, it would find its target. But I was thinking about that and it would be actually quite frightening under pressure if something's running towards me and I actually have to knock that arrow and shoot it. I don't think I'd do very well at all. So that's why I think at least if I had like AoE damage, it would be like better for people whose accuracy might not be super great. I've just put a lot of thought into this. Hector says, pass. I like me. Yeah, I'd stay human. I'm in the 80th percent, I guess. KBW says, I've got deadly aim with things like thrown pillows, spit wads, and other things that target siblings. +7 older brother stats. Something like that, yeah. Bartleby says if you become a changeling monk, you could become one with everything. Nicely said. All right, let's keep this discussion going because we've got a lot to get through. Level 3 is massive. It even has like what seems to be an open sky. There are villages and towns. They've increased the NPCs. There's a lot more access to different stores like alchemy stores. Even saying that there are like clubs to go into or exclusive sort of places just for your race. So it's like a racial bonus to go into these places to train up as your race. Mordecai says it's the size of Arizona, the 3rd level. Vaden says, I think Elemental would be pretty awesome in this dungeon. I think that's exactly what I was trying to explain. She was so OP though. That meteor spell, are you kidding me? Something like 10 D8, 30 D8, something ridiculous. I was like, blah. Red Panda says the ante has been upped for sure. Yeah, if I could turn into a Titan. But that's the thing, I would have to be like 2 different, completely different characters, and I'd have to learn how to play both really well. But Titan would be so entertaining. Yeah, I'm biased. We also learn about quests, elite characters, and the fact that there are storylines and shows written and overseen by producers like reality television. The quest in place that they discover is about Grimaldi's circus, where the circus animals are infested with these parasitic worms. Insert elite Serena Signet. She is the half-elf, half-dryad main character of what they find out to be the Vengeance of the Daughter saga. And she kind of paralyzes both Donut and Carl after they said that they would help her, but then try to bounce because Mordecai is like, stay the hell away from elites. Too late. The play has been made. You know that there's puppeteering happening where it's like, zoop, they didn't have a chance. Clever Girl says, chunkless? I could ricochet my shoes off a wall and hit. What's chunkless? What is that? Am I saying it right? I could hit my sons ducking into a room. They called it shoe-jitsu.
Chancla.
What's chanclas?
They're like flip-flops or thong sandals.
I've never heard that word before in my life. Can someone show me what that is?
A lot of it's kind of a thing, especially with Hispanic parents, to toss the chancla at their kid when they're behaving. It's sort of a
like in Coco.
Joke.
It's because you're white, Maude. Yeah.
Latino version is the Latino version of the wooden spoon.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm very versed in wooden spoon, and I think I even had to like duck a vase once. So I'd choose a chanclas if that was a choice. No, says Tim. Vase. Tim, vase. I had to duck a vase once.
Nice.
It sounds like a sordid affair. Nope, just my mum in a bad mood. Hormones are a funny thing. Kate says the first few levels feel very much like most people's first D&D games. Just a dungeon crawl because you're trying to get your head around the rules. And the next games are when you're kind of comfortable with the base rules and can let loose with more role play. And it's falling very much into this fantasy scape where it's like, we know that there's taverns. We know that there's a quest. We know that, now we have our racing class, so we can lean into our attributes in that way. It's a very comfortable and I think a very clever transition because as we, the reader, learn more, we are expanding and going on into more familiarity. Hector is funny says, if you saw Coco, you heard it. I still haven't seen it. You just said I'm going to cry a lot, so I'm never like, I'm in the mood to cry, That hasn't happened yet. Sorry, Hector. I will. Saying it right. Mexican sandals. Thank you. Thank you, Hector. Hector's like my Mexican coach. Coco's a great film. I've heard. KP Dubs, yes, that was a revelation. Other show running concurrently. And Carl totally played that situation. We'll see how it works out, but it seems a great move at the time. Yes. Watch it right now, says Lisa. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll cry. There's a GIF in the Discord chat, okay? That's just a plugger. Oh my God, I love being Australian sometimes. That is called a plugger. Plugger. No one's heard of a plugger. See? Hey, Zelda. A sandal, a plastic sandal, is called a thong in Australia because you can't say that in America without it being a very different word. And then if you're really bogan, it's called a plugger because sometimes the plug that makes the sandal, like that makes the toe part go into the plastic bottom, sometimes you bust a plugger. What do you call it?
I'm just saying, like, I don't know, but that's the second time that I've heard bogan this past couple weeks.
Yay.
Fair dinkum bogan was how I heard it the other time.
It unplugs. You bust a plugger. Oh, busted me plugger. That makes absolute sense to me. Anyway, culture is amazing. My family called them thongs growing up, but then society went a different route. Yeah, I can't even remember if Australians say route or route anymore because I've been in America for so long. And I did a voice campaign in Australia and I did like a read and they're like, that was great. You just said route wrong the whole time. It's route. And I was like, oh. So I've like changed. I've converted. Colleen says, my boss once told us we couldn't wear thongs to work and we were very confused. Oh, how dare you tell me? Bartleby says the little socket that holds the toe notch from the bottom of the sandal is a plugger. Yeah, it's a plug. And sometimes, like, if you get a bit leery on the tinnies, you bust a plugger. I'm homesick. Cool, moving on. Signet has super high charisma, and now we see what high stats look like to lower levels. And the fact that he's immediately swept up by her, physically swept up by her as well. He's just like, what is happening? And he has to break his finger to kind of like not have that charm effect take over because he was just incredibly attracted to her because their charm is so high. So it's like you're starting to see the vulnerabilities that lower levels have and why you like what these stats actually do. I know that Avery last time said she just wasn't as versed in these stats and what it looked like. And it's really cool to see what like an over 100 charisma stat looks like and what that can do to other characters. We're also seeing how Carl's strength stat keeps getting higher and higher and how like little things that he didn't think was a big deal before, like he's feeling the power shift as well. Bartleby Prime says, can my earth skill potion be Aussie slang? That's actually quite beautiful. I guess it could be considered a hobby. Yeah. Blue, it's a blowout. Yes, you blew out my flip-flop, stepped on a pop top, cut me heel and had to cruise on back home. It's a Jimmy Buffett thing. That's so funny. That's funny. You have a blowout. Apparently here that's like you get your hair done. No, if you have a blowout, your plugger's done. That's different. The Aussie potion would taste like raw prawn. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Kate. Anyway, so we've been...
Isn't that Aussie slang?
Prawn? Shrimp on the barbie. No one says shrimp.
No, raw prawn.
It was off like raw prawn. No. Where'd you hear that one?
I don't know.
If you're going to be my sister and you're going to steal my mum, you can't be dropping some false Aussie lingos. You're going to have to do a little bit more research. I can just see Zelda here. It's so cute. She's so cute. KBW says, or your tire just completely rips open while driving is also a blowout. That makes sense. It's just more devastating when it's your plugger. Let's talk about the quest. Grimaldi's Circus. Roped in. Signet's had a past with them. Signet has put Donut under this sort of sleeping spell. So for the first time, Carl's sort of on his own here. Black Belt says, I've got a 2-month-old. Blowout means something completely different here. Poop emoji. We've got a blowout. Got a blowout happening here. What if you had like strength 30, dexterity 45. You are fast, you are strong, charisma 2, because like 3 random times in that level you shoot yourself. Would you do it? Drew's like, no. Here we go. Kate Googled. Kate didn't like being told that she didn't know her Aussie lingo, and I said, look it up, so she did. Today, raw prawn is most often heard in the idiom to come the raw prawn, meaning to attempt to deceive or treat like a fool, to misrepresent a situation. It is typically used in negative constructions, especially as they don't come the raw prawn with me. Don't try to treat me like a fool. It was first recorded in 1942. Thanks, K. Frito. It was first recorded in 1942. I've never used that or heard it in my life. I will try to fit it in by the end of this stream.
It's almost like Australia is a whole continent, so maybe it was just a different part.
Yeah, maybe that's like next level bogan. And I'm just like, not that. Tim's face. Tim's like barely paying attention, but I'll say something like that and he's just like, okay.
I think that's at least an idiom in a colloquial sense, like it's only meant for like a certain region.
Come the raw prawn. I think I would remember saying come the raw prawn. I would have numerous questions if that was said in a sentence. Numerous questions.
I'll admit, come the raw prawn sounds a lot more fun than that's cap.
Oh my god, is that what the kids say? You're wearing a cap. That's cap. Oh, I'm old. That happened. KPW says probably comes from Perth. Baden says very possible. I play with Australians like twice a week and I still learn new Aussie slang from Maude regularly. What's some Aussie slang you've picked up, Baden?
Oh god, what is it? Gumbies? Like Gumbies.
Yes. Well, you guys saw the 80s show Gumby.
Yeah.
I love Gumbies. I say that word a lot. It's kind of like the Australian equivalent of Muppet in England. Yeah. And I still think Muppet's great. That guy's an absolute Muppet. And then over here, it's like, oh, you know, if like I had a really bad moment where I got really nervous and like I said something wrong, I'd be like, I was such a Gumby. I Gumbied that up.
Why the Jim Henson Company's in London?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Pack your Dax, says Toaster Poster. I love Aussie slang. Pack your Dax is kind of exactly what I was saying, what the negative perk would be if you chose that high strength, high dex stat. You would pack your Dax. See T-Bones, good to see ya. Pokey was my favorite. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Pokey was the red horse. The yellow Spike, the yellow dinosaur, and Blockheads. Oh, I'm aging myself big time as I continue to talk.
Don't feel bad. I watched that as a little kid too, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was a staple. Okay, so this quest, Donuts out. And this is the first time where Carl's had to deal with something in a non-team format. Usually Donut has the long-range attacks and can do Clockwork Orange. She's got Mongo. So like when you lose Donut, you lose Mongo. And technically, even though they're still in the same group, I think Carl's figuring out, because Donut keeps reminding them, he's my manager. So if they ever disband, Carl does not have access to Mordecai. That is also Donut's got 70 charisma, super high strength, and she doesn't even use it. Yeah, she's got magic missile, Clockwork Orange. She can reanimate the dead. She gets a spell every single day. Her mana regenerates so much faster. She's so OP at the moment. She's so OP. She's got a pet Velociraptor. And Carl only gets access to that should they stay a team. Not sure if this is Aussie, but there's a lady in my group that says bip bip when she wants people to hurry up. That's tooting a horn. Beep beep, come on. Beep beep, beep beep. Fair dinkum. Goodo. Can we talk about Super Stealth Donut climbing up the rafters and taking out the lookouts? Yes, we sure can. Even though she's got little trinklets that do make a little bit of noise, she's got to learn to stealth up heartier. She's got 4 constitution. She's got 4 con. So even though she's getting abilities where it's like cockroach, where if you hit 0, you actually don't die. 9 lives, where it's like the first, 9 attacks are at half damage. Like she's still, as I call it, a soft hot pocket, where it's like you barely have to touch it and the insides will be out.
The glassiest of glass cannons.
The glassiest of glass cannons, exactly. So we've got strengths and weaknesses there. She's out for the count. It's just Carl. And Carl's been roped in to team up with Signet, who's got a soft spot for Carl. Carl has to attack Helen, the circus bear. Now, Kate, you were like a little bit affected by this because this is a bear that's been apparently taken over by the parasites. Signet needs to use it as a sacrifice so that that blood offering can like activate her tattoos so that she can kind of like storm the castle, the circus, so to speak, with like her Heather. I thought it was Helen. It's Heather. It says everyone loudly. Heather the bear. Heather the bear. It was so sad, says Lisa. How was that for you? Because this is like a moment where Carl almost switches off and has to desensitize from any emotional attachment. But us, the reader, we're not there. We're not in the dungeon, so we still feel things. How was that for you?
Oh, yeah. It was definitely like the saddest part, I think. I mean, there's been a couple times where he's kind of thought about his life and his outside world where I'm like, oh, it's kind of like a bummer, brings you down. But like this part, I was like, oh, like it hurt.
Because as Clever Girl says, Heather was grateful to be released from the curse. He manages to use one of his items that has a 50% chance of being a fireball or a healing custard. And it ends out that she basically was like on her last little bit of health and he was either going to end her completely. He ends up healing her and he heals Heather the bear from the parasites in her. And she's basically just gone, I've lived for too long. I shouldn't be like this. I'm an animated corpse. Please end it. And Carl had this sort of decision going, should I just like, her health meter's just going down. Do I let that just take care of it? No, this is a game. She's a boss. He needs the XP and I'm going to put her out of her misery. Bump, bump, squish. Which again was quite hard because he saw Heather for who she really was. He saw it in the eyes. So that was hard. Aaron says the audiobook describing how the bear looks like she wants Carl to finish her and put her out of her misery. That's it. KPW says, see, it was the custard. Is the AI maybe sort of helping by accident? If it's a chance stat, who's to say that that is not being manipulated by AI? You're exactly right. Aaron says, though, I see that less of AI helping and more of just a fortuitous accident. I think this is like a really cool bit of homework for us to be like, where is the AI tweaking things? Is there such thing as luck in this game? Let's keep our eye out for those sorts of things because otherwise 25% chance of that all becomes redundant. Hello, Academic. Good to see ya. Welcome. Is book good? I'm going to put you on the spot straight away.
Book good. Book everything good.
Great.
Life is good.
Love it. I was talking about the bear attack with Heather the bear and how the boss battle was the fact it was supposed to be something pretty gnarly and it ends up being, you know, he gets all the experience for it, but it actually tells a lot more about the storyline than we initially suspected. Hold on, KP Dubs, did you read Tom E's response? He said KP Dubs saw it. What is it? Did you see the answer? Are you?
It's a show chat.
Tom E is his first and middle initial, but you can put the Tom and the E together to make it say Tome. So it's Tom, but you can also say Tome like a
win-win. Great.
Mm-hmm.
So to me was the only one that was wrong. So I will call him to me from now on. No, I'm kidding. Terry says the AI is a little demon because it's horny for Carl's feet. Yeah, you're not wrong. Where's the lie? You're not wrong. I want to talk about, though, this eidetic memory. I learned about what an eidetic memory is quite recently, and so I'm really excited about the concept. An eidetic memory is something where via smell, sound, one of your senses, it can unlock a very visceral memory where it can place you back into that moment and you can live and breathe and interact almost in that particular memory. That is an eidetic memory. And when Carl smells the circus, and it's the smell of the corn, it's the smell of the hay on the ground, it's the smell of like the cotton candy, he's completely pulled back to being 4 years old again. When he had these beautiful moments with his mum, where his mum would take him to the circus. And it wasn't until his dad became an absolute boop. I'll write it in show chat. I really want to say this word because it's a word I really like, but I can't in this stream. But just pretend I've said that word. Dad's that. Great word. 2 words, technically.
A very Australian word.
Thank you. I like that one. If you're in the show chat, you'll be able to see it. But it's interesting that this is a memory that he has that's super important to him. And yet it's now being used in the dungeon. So do you think this is just totally chance? Again, does AI know or not? Or do you think one of Carl's core memories is being used against him in this dungeon? Anyone? Vaden.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, there's too many things that might seem like coincidental initially, but it seems like there's too many things happening that at some point, too many coincidences are not coincidence. It just becomes something is planned, there's a design behind it. So I'm pretty sure that they are taking advantage of him and using his stuff against them. We know that in the future that happens as well.
I actually really like this as a writing technique. It's using these eidetic memories where something's placed in the dungeon and we get to learn more about his history while he's going through the memory. I like it as an exposition technique. I like that it humanizes Carl a lot more and we get to learn. KPW says 2 is coincidence, 3 is a pattern. Bartleby says the circus smells like childhood disappointment. Yeah. We find out Grimaldi and Signet were in the circus together. Oh, we've got to wrap up in a bit. But he saved her from it. Instead of fighting an epic city boss battle, he, with help from Mordecai, learning about how this has been used in previous iterations, ends up using his brains instead of brawn and gets the NPCs to talk it out to solve the quest. Is that as entertaining? Not really. But the fact that this is getting viewed so highly, Carl uses this and through Zev strikes a deal. I will get eyeballs on your story. I'm in this now. I'll see it through if you can guarantee my progression in this story. You could kill me now because I technically didn't go along with your story. I used words to solve problems. But I want it in writing or in an approval. Zev saying, oh, I can sign on your behalf. He was like, that is terrifying. He's making sure he's got guaranteed placement in level 6 and potentially 9 as well. So he's leaning into I understand that this is a game, but I can bring it and I can back it with numbers. So let's work together on this. Is this a surprising move from Carl when we've learnt more than ever that Donut has the expertise when it comes to television, entertainment, reality TV? Carl's kind of figured out the importance of this. Who's got thoughts on that? Cool, moving on. Do you think Carl is expanding his fighting style by playing the game better? Yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Nodding, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thumbs up. Terry's just looking left and right. He's not even giving anything away at this stage. I love it. This is the first time Carl's done things on his own. Should he leave the party? How do you think he will fare without Donut? Any thoughts? Show of hands, unmute. Colleen.
I don't think, I think the bond with Donut is more than just as a member of the party now, because when he sees how she reacts to you don't risk your life for a pet, he sees how devastated she is and backpedals to make sure that calls her partner. So there's a definite bond there now that goes beyond just we're in the same party here.
Yeah, and Kate says you can see when she almost died how much Carl loves her and Mongo. And it actually brings up the theme of family. Signet was just looking out for her family. Grimaldi's looking out for his circus family. And now I think, he's having some existential crisis with this entire thing. But Carl's realizing, Mongo, Donut, this is now my family. And I will do whatever it takes to look out for my family. Kate, I liked your comment earlier about the sorry, I couldn't find my mouse and I got frustrated and I ended up sounding like a Muppet. I feel like it's a microcosm of people who just like action fights versus the people who like a longer, slower character story. Like talking it out wasn't an instant hit for viewers, but it means it can pay off down the line. Yes, instead of dealing with it in that moment, this thing's going to build legs and it's going to generate more and more interest and opportunity. So I like that as well. Lisa says maybe it isn't meant to bring back memories for Carl in particular. Okay, there's a conversation happening between people. What is the comment from Game Wizard? You've sparked conversation. What is that conversation that you're going?
I was just talking about if you guys were saying, are they purposefully bringing back his childhood memories of the circus?
Yeah.
That I was just asking, like, isn't that like an outside production though? That wouldn't be really pointed at Carl in particular. Anybody could have, but I guess the AI could have pushed him towards doing that.
Yeah, I think the whole like idea that the circus and all that stuff and like, you know, is geared towards him specifically, I think is stretching credulity a little bit, just because like I was telling Lisa, it's like it's an outside production. Like they have their own independent storyline. They wanted a circus plot line to go be like the starting point for this massive plot that's going to happen through all the odd numbered floors, the 3, 6, and so on. So it's a little odd that they like would focus on a moment from a 4-year-old kid with his mom running away from the dad, and then they just built an entire plot line in this game around just this one individual that they're already trying to like put in danger.
Yeah, so like my thought was just that like they create the plot, they create the storyline, like it's basically a script that's written, and then once they find people they think are interesting, they kind of include them into that and add relevant details they think. Like so they had a circus line plotted out, it's my guess, and then they found that Carl happened to have something that could be relevant to it, so they said, oh, you know, let's include this guy, and then they use and try to use like other stuff to like conveniently put him in a place that you'd get the quest. But that's just, you know.
Kate's saying that we've got dossiers on every single human because they've been on the planet studying us for decades.
But how?
It's just a guess.
I mean, the technology that they're capable of.
Like they could crush our entire world in 1 second, like, and then turn it into a dungeon within an hour. That they can instantly make a dossier on every dumb person on their earth. Like some 4-year-old going to the circus, like that's Stone Age stuff compared to this civilization.
Yeah. Barnaby says it's also. Oh yeah, go Colleen.
I also think this is not necessarily a unique experience. I suspect that a lot of people have had similar experiences where, you know, this kind of circus memory is maybe a high point in an otherwise dismal life. You know, I mean, a lot of life is disappointment.
Gosh, and they've bottled it, haven't they?
That was the kind of like point I was trying to make. It's like, I don't think this was specifically tailored to Carl. I think that would be too big of a stretch. Like, I get it that they could have information on all of everybody. I can agree with that point. But the fact that they would tailor to one specific individual when they have this giant scope of a game with quadrillions of people.
Well, I mean, to that I would argue that the circus is only really in the playing field of Carl and Donut. They haven't really seen any other crawlers for that particular moment.
I think only because he was the only one in the area. Everybody else was already dead from the lemurs, and everybody else is like kind of like sticking to the, you know, more populous centers. Like you could find guilds and.
Well,
like,
the thing too is that when they went down to this floor, they got put there. They didn't just. It wasn't like an analog because everyone got separated all over to different areas, right? The AI put them where they were on purpose.
Also, I do actually think it was only tailored to Carl in one respect, that they kind of alluded that the producers or somebody wanted him dead, like as a sacrifice, because that's why he was in Signet's, you know, crosshairs, because he was supposed to die. He was supposed to have gotten killed in that whole thing, but he proved too capable. And he just found a way around it. So I think that's the only way I could think of it being tailored to him, only in that they wanted him as a sacrificial pawn.
Okay, we do have to wrap up the conversation. Black Belt says, I also appreciate that Carl isn't just punching or exploding his way through every boss in the dungeon. That would get old. Tom says they could also have positioned someone that has daddy issues, and Grimaldi would relate heavily, right? KP says another party actually did stumble up onto the circus. It was just chance, but then the game spun it towards Carl when the opportunity arose. That party did not survive the level 8 lemurs either. And most of their body was looted, except something that just happened to have strength. For Carl? Yes, Aaron?
Also, I think, if I remember right, he was like towards nighttime, and I think everybody else was kind of warned, stay the hell out of...
At night, go to bed at night. Mm-hmm.
And he was like...
But they don't have a guide helping them.
Right, so they were pushing their luck pretty hard at that time.
Bartleby says it's also a bit playing against type for Carl. Donut is all charisma and is the reality TV favorite. Carl is strong and the action star, so having him buck the trend and work with a storyline that requires intelligence rather than strength or charisma is against the normal grain for the show, for the production, and for the crawlers. Great chat about this. Homework, finish the book if you haven't already. Most of you likely have. But let's finish this one. KP says, done. Next, we will talk about the whole book next week. The week after that, we'll be having a fantastic Q&A with Matt Dinniman. Again, members are able to submit their questions directly so that I can ask these questions to Matt for you on your behalf, which is pretty cool. So we'll get those questions happening throughout the next couple of weeks. We've also got something pretty cool coming up, and members get to benefit from that too. So now's the best time to become a member so you can get those perks happening. Tom says done ×6. All right, we got some Dungeon Crawler Carl fans in here, which I absolutely love, and I love that we can chat about this the whole time. We're going to move on to a different segment. It's let me just press a few buttons. Beep. Oh, I was going to show you this. Matt Dinniman posted this. If you see the stream, you'll be able to see it. He posted this picture on his Twitter. He said someone said to do a Mongo children's book, and it says Mongo learns to murder.